much. And joining me now to discuss is the 10th Bishop of Trenton, New Jersey, and former president of the Catholic University of America, Bishop David O'Connell. Thank you so much for being here on this first Sunday for the Pope. What stood out to you about Pope Leo's first Sunday blessing today? What caught your ear?
Well, you know, the first words that the Pope spoke as Pope from the loggia at St. Peter's were, "Peace be with you." And it's a beautiful coincidence that they're actually the first words that the Lord Jesus spoke after his resurrection to the apostles. So in a sense, I think it sets an agenda that is very much in his mind and heart, that he's seeking peace and he will do everything he can to promote peace in the world.
You know, we've been talking to a lot of people throughout this weekend. This is what Pope Leo's friend, Reverend Mark R. Francis, told us on News Nation yesterday about Leo, who he calls Bob. Take a listen.
But Bob is the kind of person that you would meet in the grocery store or a gas station, or he's totally accessible and non-pompous. And so he has a very deep spirituality, but he doesn't wear it on his sleeve. And so the issue here, I think, is that he's a normal human being. They say in Spanish, gente como uno. He's an ordinary person who has been extraordinarily graced by God.
Yeah, and we're hearing that type of reaction and the people that know him. What do you think it means for American Catholics to now have the first American Pope? Obviously, it's very special. But digging deeper, what are you hearing from people? And do you think his American upbringing will influence how he communicates? Because so far, that's kind of what we've seen.
Well, I think anybody's upbringing is going to have an influence on the way they behave and the way that they act.
Sure.
And I don't think he'll be any different than that. Although much of his life, much of his ministry, he's spent in Peru, in Latin America, and so that will also have an influence on him. You know, it's interesting. In my works over the years, I've met every single American cardinal, but he's the only American cardinal that I never met. And so I'm very excited to hear and to see what's going to happen as he leads us in the church.
You know, how do you expect the Pope Leo to be different from Pope Francis? A lot of people making the comparison of the two men in terms of priorities, leadership style. A lot of people say that they seem similar. Do you see it that way?
Well, I'll tell you, the expression in Rome always is around the time of conclave: fat Pope, skinny Pope. Different personalities, different types of priorities that he's going to manifest, his own, as well as some probably in continuity with Pope Francis and Pope Benedict and the other popes who have preceded him.
Yeah, and before I let you go, what do you think his approach is going to be about church reform, especially internally? Because so many people have talked about transparency and trust within the Catholic Church. That is obviously going to be something that we're all paying very close attention to.
The expression is Ecclesia semper reformanda. The church is always reforming himself, and I don't think that that will be any exception in the pontificate that he experiences and he offers to the world.
All right. I also want to ask you about this meeting. The Pope Leo is set to meet with the international media tomorrow. So it's going to be a big day for all of us. What kind of tone or message should the world expect from him when it comes to him addressing the media? Because he's already been talking about the wars that are going on. What do you think we'll hear?
Well, I think one thing he's going to express is gratitude. This meeting is going to include those who covered the conclave and covered the funeral of his predecessor, Pope Francis. So I think he's going to express heartfelt gratitude to the media, and he's also going to invite them to think deeply and not to think on the surface about the things that he is going to address and the things that are important to the church.
Well, we certainly appreciate your perspective today on this Sunday, on this first Sunday for the Pope, the 10th Bishop of Trenton, New Jersey, Bishop David O'Connell. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope to have you back soon. And as the